minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Let's rock. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into.
Welcome to the Great Minds Podcast. This is Derrick.
This is Vaughn.
And we're here with the yearly wrap up. So
real. What a good year.
Yeah.
Crazy year, I should say.
Yeah, crazy year. First, just want to salute everybody that has been rocking with us from day one.
Appreciate
people that hopped in episode 20, people that hopped in episode 40.
Did it watch from day one that was on it from episode 1.
When we had the crazy backgrounds and just kind of trying to get our footing
wet,
right.
huh?
Yeah, try to get our feet wet. Salute to all the guests.
Definitely.
It's been dope. I think it's been more than I expected early on. But it worked out, man. I want to say special salute to Ike, man, for being our first guest.
Word, yeah, Ike's the first guest, man. Definitely salute to him. We're gonna do some work with him in the future anyway.
Yep.
Besides that, he definitely was the first guest we had, and when we were wet behind the ears trying to figure out how we're going to do the format and what we're going to talk about, and salute that. I also wanted to give a shout out again on people that's been listening to us, but especially with Spotify. Like Spotify gives you, we have updates and we can see who's looking at our stuff and from different everything except for Apple, right? Apple we can't see, right?
It doesn't really specify, but
yeah, it's specify. Like that. But in YouTube, we can see the analytics like that, pretty much minutes a minute. But with Spotify, we touched 14 countries so far in 9 months and 8 months. Sorry, and then we put out over 1,700 viewable, listened to minutes. I guess you could say
minutes of content.
Minutes of content. We putting our work in, man. I'm glad everybody's been checking us out. So all those people that can't see our faces, but just listen to the voices. So, salute to that.
All right, so it's been a crazy year. One of the, I feel like one of the craziest years that I've experienced. Salute to everybody that passed away, had families, and just lost their businesses, and I think we've been pretty fortunate that we haven't had to experience that. So. Thankful about that, but salute, to those people. Keep your head up and all that, and
definitely
keep it pushing. So how I want to start. I think we both agree with this. We're gonna talk about kind of like where it started. Like you look at January 26th. Sunday. I want to say it was the bye week between the conference finals and the Super Bowl. I think the Super Bowl was played that following.
Yep, it was.
Because I think they had the Pro Bowl that day, and they honored Kobe. If you know me and Kobe was my favorite basketball player ever. So, getting that news, man, it rocked me. Obviously I didn't know him personally. He didn't know me or whatever the case is, but that was rough. I feel like the year kind of took a spiral from there. So what are your thoughts?
It was definitely downhill from that. I remember that day too, because I got finished playing basketball, came home, I'm sitting on my couch, watching TV. There was nothing on, there was no games on, right? Because it's that bye week. I'm sitting there and my phone goes off, and it's my mother. Mom called me. I was like, "You heard anything about Kobe?" I'm like, "Nah, what are you talking about?" Like, nah, I haven't heard anything about Kobe. Like, as far as like what I saw him on an episode of All the Smoke. Like, I was saying podcasts, I heard him on that, and I was telling you, offline, saying like, "Yo, I'm starting to like Kobe right now. Like, what he's doing is like he's showing more of himself and what he's doing." So he kept popping up in my mind. Like, I kept seeing him on certain places and hearing his name. I'm like, damn, like why is that? Like, why is that happening? So I was seeing a lot more Kobe content. And then that day, my mom called me and said, "No, I don't see anything." She goes, "Well, my cousin had just called her and said that she heard that he passed away." I'm like, "You guys are bugging."
That's Kobe Bryant. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm like, first of all, this would be I'm watching ESPN right now. It's not on ESPN. I'm like, it would have been on CNN. and they don't see it. I'm like, nah, it's probably just somebody putting like a false rumor out there. How they always do sometimes. I don't know why people do that, but things come out that's not really true. So she's like, nah, all right, okay. Hung up with her. Then I started looking through the TV for like the first 25, 30 minutes. I didn't see anything at all about it. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. So all of a sudden, I said, let me go on my phone. And I went on my phone, and I forgot where I went on, and it was on my phone first, and then it was on IG. I'm like, wait a minute, now this is really getting some. Then it's like, all right, and I automatically knew that he had his daughter with him, because I just had a feeling that I was like, yo, why is he up? What is he doing? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, maybe so his daughter, but I didn't know they had anybody else besides those two on there. Then you started hearing, it kept getting worse and worse every like hour. You hear more and more. Then you heard Rick Fox was on there. You're like, yo, what's going on? All this crazy stuff. So yeah, it was definitely one of those days that I think it kind of, especially if you was a parent. I think if you're a parent and you kind of have a visual, you kind of see that scenario playing out in your head, think about what they're thinking about at that time. It was kind of tough to understand it, because with my daughter, my oldest child, I take her to soccer stuff all the time. Like, it's me and her for the most part. So my wife goes, she goes to, but a lot of times I'm taking the practice, I'm taking to these faraway games. So I was like, that could be, any dad with the child traveling. So I think that's what made it hurt the most. It wasn't even about the basketball part. It was just about like, him passing and everyone passing. It was other families on there too, but passing with their kids, and the wife is still here and the other kids are still here. It's like, how do they go on from that? You know what I'm saying? It's tough. So
yeah, I think what made it tough too, and I think I'm thinking back to like, our parents when they, Martin Luther King being assassinated, and I mean it's different. I mean, he was a basketball player. He was, Martin Luther King fought for civil rights, but they were both heroes to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like I never, like Big and Pac died. I was younger. I felt it, but like not in the same way. But yeah, man, I would say probably for like the first 2 weeks, like I was obsessed with reading articles about like why it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like
what was going on? Yeah, because it didn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't making sense.
Why it happened? How could it have been, avoided? And it was just, I was making it worse for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you find out more and more stuff. They're like, oh, like what?
Like, yeah, why they even leave, and stuff like that. But yeah, man, that's tough, man. I don't even watch basketball the same way, even though he wasn't playing. I always envisioned Kobe be like, how Bill Russell is. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what everyone said. I remember someone said something crazy. It was like, yo, I forgot who put it in the rhyme. I forgot who it was. They were like, I never thought I'd be seeing. I think Big Sean said it, but I never thought I'd see Kobe pass for Magic. Like, you never, you know what I'm saying? You never thought that, like, based on, Magic's condition at the time and stuff like that. And then based on the ages, like Kobe is like our age, a little bit older than us. So it's kind of like we saw him grow up. We see Kobe being Kobe.
Right.
And then for him to be starting the next chapter in his life, it feels like he got robbed of it. Like he was going to be like a superstar in that next life too.
Yeah. I mean, the way he is, the way his work ethic is, whatever he was going to do, he was going to push to be the best at it. So, salute the Mamba. Forever going.
Everyone else,
praise out
Gigi,
to
everyone else that passed too,
Yep. So,
that's how it started. The next thing you know, start snowballing.
Yeah. So you got COVID-19, right? And it's just kind of like you hear about it, and it's just like, so we witnessed Kobe's death, and then we witnessed like a new, I won't call it disease, like a new virus, like the flu's always been around.
It was on the paper of Kobe's, like,
people were pointing that out. I saw that it was like in the top left corner.
Little small blurb saying about COVID, blah blah blah. Yeah.
So the thing with COVID, like I knew COVID was like, something happening, but like I didn't realize how crazy it was until like the NBA shut down. Like that for me, that was the first time I remember hearing the NBA shut down. I was actually coming back from a high school basketball game. In hindsight, I'm thinking I was in like I was at a sectional championship high school game at Jackson Liberty High School with 1,000 people in the gym. Like
sardines in there.
Yeah, got probably COVID all over there, and like we just had no clue outside of like, you know, something that might have come over from China or whatever the case is. But for me, you know, my first realization of like it being a serious thing is when they shut the NBA down. I think was it Rudy Gobert had it first, and they just shut down the season. So that was unheard of. I think the next week, the following Monday, schools shut down. So it got crazy real quick.
It was funny about that because I kind of, from the rip, I kind of knew it was serious when you know, after everything happened with Kobe, I saw a little blurb, whatever. We were still dealing with the Kobe stuff. Then next thing you know, I started seeing more and more stuff about that. And then when I went to the store and the toilet tissue was gone, and toilet paper and paper towels, stuff like that, I'm like, all right, this is getting real. So like my mom, you know, in different states, she was like, you guys able to find stuff up there? She's buying stuff down there. I'm like, nah, I'm not sweating. I'm not sweating too. I took it serious, but wasn't like out there, let's go grab everything and hoard it. Wasn't thinking about it like that. Then as time went, so I had more and more cases pop up. I'm like, damn, all right. And then the NBA, right? The NBA was kind of like the thing that made everybody kind of go, whoa, all right, NBA stopping. They care about cash. So they're like, if they stop the season, it's something serious.
Right.
But I think that the crazy thing about it was that the way it was being handled, you know, up top, it was no real leadership for that, you know, within the federal government. So it's like they're not telling everyone the truth about what's happening. So you have 50 states acting like 50 different countries. So it's like, yo, you're in North Carolina, you have these different rules. Virginia, a little different. New York, it's different. You know, and we were up here, up top, we were really aggressive with it. Like with Cuomo and them dealing, everybody like, what are you doing? They shut everything down. And you think about New York, that's the hub. Everyone's coming to, like, you know, coming to LaGuardia or JFK and Newark.
Okay.
You know, so they acted accordingly. But it's just the way it just happened. And I think everyone was kind of like in schools, you know what I'm saying, and then work. And they tell you to go back to your job, like you gotta work remote unless you first responded. Then we got the curfews in Jersey.
Right.
They were like, yo, you can't be outside after 10, unless it's like, or after 8, unless it's something you going to work. I'm like, yo, this is serious, man.
Yeah. And I think initially everybody kind of thought it was like a 2-week thing.
Yeah.
You know, because that was like the initial, like, all right, we shut it down for 2 weeks. And then, like, I remember I went back to work for a training, and I was just kind of like, I was just researching it, like, yo, it's airbound and all this. I'm like, we're not going back anytime soon.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of got that feel. But, you know, the things that were crazy, like you said, the restrictions, the isolation, which, you know, if you didn't have a stable situation at home, you know, or you weren't comfortable within yourself as far as like not being able to be like around people, like that was tough for certain people. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, like I'm fine. You know, I'm cool. In fact, things were like fun. You know, we got up and we did Zoom calls with the homies, and you know, we found different ways to have fun. But I know that wasn't always the case. I'm even thinking like a person that's like out dating, like you just got shut down. Like you can't see anybody. You ain't trying to
you better call somebody up from back in the day. Like, let's quarantine together or something.
Yeah. So I think that was tough. I don't think that's something that we even think about because we don't, you know, we have our situations.
Or elderly too, if you're the elder,
right? You
know, that might not have anybody to see. I think what it kind of did show me too, besides like the unemployment and stuff like that happened, that went rampant before, it's still going on, and mom and pop shops going belly up. Some staples that you used to see on around anymore, you know, for sale signs on stores. It also showed me how, I don't want to say dumb, but yeah, forget it. How dumb people are though with certain things. Like, you know, if they tell you one thing, like, all right, put a mask on. Put the mask on. Like, what does that really stop you? You might not agree with everything, but why not? Like, if I know me having a mask on is going to help the next person, why not put it on? Like, people fighting that, and then you have all this stuff going on with that, and then we get into the whole social justice stuff on top of that. But all this stuff is going on to make people want to blow up. You know what I'm saying? And I think that people just not being able to sit down. I think we have a problem with following the rules, meaning not just us, meaning like as a whole, like America. You look at like Europe, you look at like China. They're like, yo, you better not go out your house or something, blah, blah, blah. Here we're like, nah, you can't do that. So we think that we're above everything else until something happens. And then when something happens to someone we love or happens to us, now we believe it. Oh, it's real now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't need you. Like what happened? If you start running, we together, I'm running too.
Absolutely.
I don't know why we running, but I'm gonna run because I see you run. I don't need to see,
It's like, even if you don't believe it, like why? Like it's not hurting. I mean, unless you have like a legitimate breathing issue, it's just like, all right, put it on. Yeah, so I think that was tough. And the transition from there, I think, we talked about this in an earlier episode. You have the George Floyd situation, Breonna Taylor, and I think what this pandemic did, it just like really, put a spotlight on those situations, because people had nothing else to do, so it was just like,
you just watch CNN or something,
right?
Yeah.
You have the normal people that watch news every day. There are those people, but the people that are usually like at home working multiple hours, come home, the kids, like sometimes like they just don't have time for it, or they choose not to use their time on that. So I think that put a spotlight on some of the injustice, and I think it kind of happened. I mean, I'm sad that these things happen, but I think it made people from other races realize, like, yo, this is crazy. This is foul. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think this was you say everything happens for a reason, right? So I hate to say that. So you try not to question certain things, right? So like the butterfly effect, right? So if I change one little thing, that might change the course of history that happened, right? So like if you change this thing, then something else is going to happen because of that change, right? So I think with this change, with COVID, leading to social justice stuff, I think, again, everyone was watching TV, seeing what's happening, and then people are also mad because they can't go anywhere. So you have these built-up frustrations. So it's kind of like this. That's built-up frustration. Everybody's kind of like a little tight. And then for the good or the bad, right? So if you see something that you are disagreement with, some injustice, you're going to come out a different way.
Right.
If you see something that you might agree with, you're going to go to bat for that. You know what I'm saying? So you have both sides of the coin going, like Ray Raheem said, love, hate, right? You got both of those sides going. And then that's how it goes. So I think that, we saw what was happening. We've been saying that, but it doesn't really change because it has to change from within. Like, it's not just about, like, marching all the time. It's not about that. We have to have the right people and right, the politicians got to be right. The leaders got to be right. We all got to be on the same accord. And I think until that happens, you're going to still see this all the time. We see this stuff all the time. It's never going to change. You know what I'm saying? Even though I think it's more people who are helping for the cause.
Right.
But that's the case all the time. Even back in the day, the civil rights movement, there was a bunch of non-Black people helping out with everything.
True.
Underground Railroad, there's a bunch of non-Black people helping out.
Yeah, she wouldn't have been able to do that by herself.
Exactly. So there's always been people that from the other races that have always helped us out. But why is everything still happening? So it has something else got to change.
I think the George Floyd thing kind of stood out to other races because, like, when you deal with the majority of the other situations where, like, people getting shot in the car, like, we know, and the average person knows, but it's still subjective to a degree. Like, people make that argument like, oh, they have to get home to their families too, which I agree with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, when you have a dude that's cuffed who can't do anything, you know what I'm saying, and you see that and that's on camera, like that was as clear cut as it comes. Like even the Breonna Taylor situation, we know what happened, but like there's an argument to be made that they ran into a dark apartment, which is nonsense, whatever.
Yeah.
But like there was no other side of the argument for the George Floyd thing, I felt like.
Yeah, because you know what it is though. Like we been seeing it. Like because when we were really young, I think I was like 9 years old when the Rodney King thing happened.
I remember same thing, but worse.
Same thing, but worse. But I remember watching. Like I remember it was on like ABC News. I'm not sure if it was Good Morning America at the time. I'm not sure what it was called, but I was about to go to work. And my mom was doing her hair. She about to take me to school. I'm sorry, I work school. My mom's doing her hair. And I'm looking at TV like, I'm seeing them beating this guy. Like, I'm like, yo, what is going on? And she's like, I'm looking at it, and she explained to me what happened. And I'm like, all right, so that was, 91, right? Whatever, 90, whatever it was. It's still going on now. Like, when it comes down to accountability, like, all right, we know that people make mistakes, right? Like, all right, I know I make mistakes. I know a police officer can make a mistake. I know a firefighter can make a mistake. It just happens, part of life, right? But if you make a mistake, there's no accountability for you making that mistake. So it's like, if I make a mistake, I'm going to jail. Like, there's no end. There's no end. It's about it. If I make a mistake,
you're at least getting fired.
I'm at least getting fired, and then I'm going to probably go to jail, right? If for not all, but it seems like most police officers that make a mistake, there's no repercussions for it. So it's like, all right, you lose your job. Okay, cool. But that's manslaughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever you're going to call it, depending on the state, because if you go for murder one and you might go too high, you might not get it. So you might at least manslaughter, right? They're not even getting manslaughter. So you're like, all right. So that gives them, not all of them, think like, all right, I'm above the law. So now I'm going to go and do what I got to do, get the blue wall of silence, right? And we know great cops. We got friends that are cops, close friends that are cops.
Absolutely.
So it's not even about that.
Salute to them. Yep.
Yeah, it's not even about that, but they even know. Like, it's the accountability that needs to be given. That's all I think that's all people want to see is accountability, right? So if you do something wrong, be held accountable for it, right? Because if I would have handcuffed that man and we would have jumped on him, we would have arrested a day later, or that day they had videotape, and we would have been given due process, right? Allegedly. They took them, we had to go and almost have a riot to get them to indict.
Yeah, they went to his crib. Like, I remember they were saying he was ordering food, and the delivery man, they were about to give the delivery man smoke. They're like, nah, I'm taking this pizza back.
He had Uber Eats, and it was all good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
ain't even make it to the door.
And that's the accountability part that drives people crazy, yo.
Right.
And I think that we saw it boiling up, and everyone was seeing black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. Everyone was seeing that, and we all have our own run-ins with police too. It's probably a little different, but because a lot of us have the same culture. Now, I don't mean like, background, but we're part of like the hip hop culture. So like, if they see, if they see you with a hoodie on, me with a hoodie on, over my head driving, one of our white friends with a hoodie on, head driving at the time, they don't know if they black or white.
Right.
They're profiling them. Now, it might be a different conversation when they find out how they look, but then they might not be. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
So yeah, I hope, I hope they just come up with the right resolution. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I think it's so. I think it's so big. Like, nobody talk about the whole defund the police thing, and they were saying like you shouldn't say defund the police, but what the funding is what they talk. Not talking about abolishing police. We want police. We need police. Everyone knows that. But to give those resources to other things, like, so instead of giving all that money to the police, why not do something else in the community? Why not give it to programs for officers and the public and the community to come together? That's what they're saying about defund the police, but they put such a negative tone. That'll do to politics. The politics made it seem like it's such a terrible word to say by saying defund, but you defund education all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You use that word all the time. But when it comes to police, don't use that word. Like, what are you talking about? You do it all the time, taking all the school programs out for kids, So it's crazy. But I don't know, man.
All right. Let's get into music. This year, and I said in the previous episode, it got off to a slow start first couple months. I can't remember. I mean, the years felt like 2 years, so I can't even remember what was out early, but I just know early on I wasn't impressed with a lot of
this is short as longest year ever.
All right. So it feels like January through March was his own year, and then this year just like it, from March on. But music really took off once quarantine hit. For a lot of different reasons. People have more time. People can't tour, need the streams and a lot of different things. What's a couple of, before we get into our top 5 albums of the year. Everybody's doing a list. A lot of the albums are in the same. I mean, a lot of there's a mix of the same albums in different lists. Some
same artists and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
some of the albums I don't think deserve to be in the mix, but hey, whatever. It's all subjective. What's a couple of hidden gems? I got a couple.
A couple of hidden gems I would say is New Beginnings by Reason.
I remember you telling me about him.
Yeah, part TDE. I came across his album. Actually, I had saw him on a few interviews before, and I was meaning to check him out. And then I heard the new album. Then I heard his first album. It came out, I think, in 2017, and that was tough too. But that's a hidden gem for me that I think that I didn't hear too many people talking about. Maybe within our circles or within what I've been dealing with, I haven't really heard that much. Another West Coast one that I like it was also known as by Hit Boy and Dom Kennedy. They put an album out earlier. I think it came out in the summer, I think, and that album was really tough. I just think certain albums like those 2 albums I didn't hear too much about. They kind of like because now with the streaming, they just put things out. Like a lot of times, like if you're not really tapped into somebody, you might not know where that album came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, until maybe a month later, like, oh, that came out in October. You're hearing about it now in like December. Right. So those are two ones I can really think about. Hidden gems. How about you?
Yeah, it's funny when you say people putting out albums. I just the dude Flea Lord, I think he's from Rochester or Buffalo, one of those. Mm-hmm. He dropped the Prodigy tribute album. It came out yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Got ran on there, Conway, a couple other people. Tuesday he dropped his 12th album, which is crazy.
12th album of what?
Of the year. Yeah, 12 albums.
That's crazy, man. Are his albums, or because I haven't heard them. I'm not gonna front. Are they more like EP-ish, or are they full albums?
Some of them are. I mean, this last one had like 12 joints on it. I didn't look through all of them. I mean, he's okay. He's all right. I didn't get a chance to thumb through all of them, but I know he's linked with Griselda and that whole upstate movement. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, I talked about it a couple of times. Marlon Craft, I think is extremely dope. He had like the whole quarantine rap set up on like
balcony, right?
On his
patio,
balcony, patio. And he's nice, man.
My bad. Here in New York, so it was fire escape.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He was up there. He's he's a dope MC, man. He had to set up on his roof, conscious. He could just spit, man. So I enjoyed a good amount of his music this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got coming up. And one I caught later on the year, JR, who I like a lot. I was linked with Ransom. I caught him the first time on Beautiful Graves. He pulled up to the show, so shout out to JR. And I know he's got another album coming out on New Year's Day. Which I'm looking forward to, and he's got another joint with Craven later on this year. So I say JR and Marlon Craft was, two new people for me at least this year that I really enjoyed.
I can think about too. This is more of an album or an artist that it's not really a hidden gem, but it's somebody that it was hidden to me because I wasn't really checking for him like that. Like I really just wasn't, and that's the kid Jack Harlow. Like, at first, I thought it was just like a song. Like, he can flow, you know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah. I didn't really think too much about it. But I started hearing him on different things. I'm like, this kid's kind of nice. And I heard his album. And I heard his album for 3 hours, three straight times through. I wanted to really listen to it and hear it. I was like, dude got something. Like, he's nice. Like, it's like a thing about these rappers now where it's like they're being themselves. So it's not really a facade, though. So it's kind of like he's just doing what he wants to do. Got his crew with him. They call it Private Garden or something like that.
I know he has some big features on there, too. I didn't get a chance to check it yet.
And that's what he got some big features on it, too. I was like, damn, this kid got some big features. I know he run with, I think, Don Kennedy, I think, and not Don Kennedy, I think, and Drama, I think. So I heard, like, I like what I was hearing from him, So I'm be looking forward to him next year and see what he does next. Because when he put an album like that, it's a really solid debut. Not really a debut album, but like he had more albums before this, but this is like the album. You know what I'm saying? We have like you can put a bunch of albums out. It's that one that really like the album that everything comes together. I think this is his album, so you're gonna have a good year next year, man. I think so.
All right, so let's go top 5 albums. I know you don't have a specific order, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, no specific order. And my criteria for this was basically without my top 5 albums and the albums that I listened to the most this year. Because I went through and said, all right, what am I listening to a lot? So, all right, from King, no particular order.
Let's be clear.
Yeah, from King to God, Conway. That album is just ridiculous to me. And everyone really must know that. But like I've been on Conway for a while, and he's always constantly working. But like you never hear a bad verse though, which is it's like rare. You never hear a bad verse. Of course, I got Rand's Director's Cut 3. It's funny because you actually put me back up on Rand, and then I went and listened to everything else like he put out this year, and then some of the stuff he put out previously. But the Director's Cut 3 I played the most this year, and Crime Scenes is out too, and we know that's dope. But I'm saying what I played, I can't say Crime Scenes if it came out last week, you know what I'm saying? Into the whole year. Again, my man, Burn the Proof, being the Butcher.
Butcher cut.
Yo, like, and my man Lou, gotta shout Lou out. Lou told me, I'll never forget this, it was on the freestyle with Sweat. And it was the whole Griselda. Well, it was Westside Conway and Benny. And I was like, yo, I was all on Conway. He's like, yo, Conway's nice. But have you heard Benny? And I'm like, yeah, I heard Benny. Yeah, I heard him on the radio. Like that one time, he's like, no. Listen to these, like, this is before Tanner talk. This is like before he's like, yo, listen to him. I'm like, yeah, he's spitting. So that's kind of like 2017, I think. So I've been on him since then. Afraid of Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. I've been on Freddie Gibbs for a long time, so I'm glad he's finally getting his shine. And then, of course, I had to put Royce's Allegory. Royce's Allegory. Even though they came out early in the year, I think they kind of got lost.
It's in 2020. Yeah, it did. I think that happened, like, if I'm not mistaken, it either came out in March or it came out in April. I know it was at the beginning of when the music started going crazy.
And the thing about Royce, like about that album, is that Royce is at the point where now, like, he's not like he's teaching, but like every song. Yeah, he's dropping jewels on every song he puts out, so you can tell it. But he's giving it to you in a way where it's not preachy,
right?
Which I think it's hard to do. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it in a clever way. And then you want to do your top 5. Then I'll do my honorable mention.
All right. So this is I got an order. I switched this order probably like 3 or 4 different times. I went back and listened to all these, and again, I went with albums that I listened to the most. I went and I tried to go back to like my initial feeling when I heard the album, just, because it's hard to judge an album that came out in February versus an album that came out in November. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So here's my top 5. Number 5, I got From a King to God, Conway. That's number 5. I used to like the other album better, the one that came out with Big Ghost LTD, whatever. The one I was talking about. Yeah, the name's escaping me right now. That album's crazy too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I like that one a lot, but From King to God was real tough, man. So I got that at number 5. Number 4, I got Freddie Gibbs. That was probably my favorite album for the whole first half of the year. Mm-hmm. That was probably my favorite album. Freddie.
Scotty Beeman.
The joint with Tyler the Creator, who I'm a huge fan of, was insane. That Scotty Beeman joint's crazy. So that's 4. For 3, I got As God Intended, man. Shay Noah. Mm-hmm. I played that album a whole lot, like a whole lot. Not a lot of holes in that album. I think she did a great job with Apollo Brown. And I feel like part of it was like, I couldn't believe she was spitting like that. So I think I ended up listening to it more because of that. Like, you know how you hear like certain people be like, all right, I've been knew he was nice. Like she was so new to me. And like, I really started listening to her like right before she got on the show. So she had like the Juno right before then she dropped that. Then she dropped after 12. She definitely in the MVP conversation. You know what I'm saying? With
no question.
With those 3 projects, and she did the after 12, produced the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like how many? I'm not even gonna say females. Like how many rappers can say that they produce their entire project, or for that matter, one of their songs ever? You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy. Yo, before you finish your list, I put her in the category of like how younger, not really, I guess older guys back in the day would tell us like how MC Lyte was. MC Lyte was pretty much like, no one looked at MC Lyte as like, yo, she's nice for a female. No. She was a nice MC. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I see Shay, like the Roxanne Shantays, the MC Lights, either Queen Latifah. Like I see her, the Rhapsodies, of course, but I look at her like that to where people are like, yo, nah, like you getting that boost, she's gonna try to bother you. Like, yo, you better take a L or it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And she, she's in the right camp to keep her stuff sharp too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With Ren and Spesh, and we got Planet Asia over there, guys that can really rap.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, man, I got Benny the Butcher, Burn the Proof, man. I really love this album because it was like Benny like opened up like a whole lot. He rapped about like his mom. He rapped about his brother that passed away, and like just like not being able to look his brother's kids in the eyes, and it was real personal. So I felt like previous to that, like he would rap about like his experience like in the game and stuff like that. But I remember when Hit Boy did a live right before he dropped the album, and he was just like, yo, this is the second rapper I saw crying in the studio recording a song. It was the Thank God I Made It joint. He was rapping about his mom. He said him and Nipsey, the only 2 rappers he saw that like cried in the studio when they was working. And it was just like, it was like, it was real and it was dope. So I'm like, all right, I really need to hit his out. I mean, I was going to listen to it anyway. And then number 1, man, Director's Cut 3, man. I think the only reason I don't want to call it a classic is because like I think it has to cook a little bit. I mean, you can't it, like on initially hearing it, I was like, yo, this album is phenomenal. I told you I couldn't get past number 3 the night of. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think you could. I think you could call an album a classic because, even if it just came out in like less than a year's time, it's all about how it makes you feel. Because like, if you can say something right now it's a classic, and then you're gonna chill for 2 years and say now it's a classic. You know what I'm saying? Like music is never gonna change.
I just think like there's some music that I listened to, and it was cool for that stretch. I was just like, but like now I was just like, yeah, like that album was cool. Maybe I was just feeling it because I was feeling a certain way.
Time frame that you was in or whatever.
Yeah, like I could still go back to Blueprint and be like, yo, it's 01 again. You know what I'm saying? And I could rock it and rap all the words like nothing changed. But, it's anything close to a classic that I've heard in a while. That I'll say. And just honorable mentions, man, I got to go Royce Allegory, who I struggled between him and the Conway joint to keep it off. But like Freddie before this pandemic really hit, Freddie and Royce like it was back to back, and then Jokers start getting in their feelings during quarantine. It got crazy for people.
So getting that bag.
It's real. Like, yo, I can't get this tour money. I'm about to rap my hardest bars ever.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? So, and my other honorable mention joint is Milestones. Scott Zoo joint. As dads, and the way he painted the picture with, like when he said like, he want to put good dads in the good light too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Otherwise, most of the records are, my dad wasn't there, and all that. So I thought it was dope. I think it was dope how he tied it in with Boys in the Hood.
That was dope too.
From the different like clips he used to like the themes, and
it was perfect. Like it was definitely. Yeah. If you haven't checked it out, I think it's like episode 12 when we had him on, right? I think it was episode 12. 12 yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he goes into that in depth about his thought process behind that, and That was definitely dope. So those are your honorable mentions?
Yeah, I got Allegory and Milestones.
All right. So I got 3. I have As God Intended by Shay Nor. Milestones is in there. It's funny. Milestones is in there too by Sky. And I want to sneak up on you. I got Hard by Joel Ortiz and Crooked Eye.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that album. I forgot about that album, but that album was tough too, man.
Because I went into what I listened to most of the year, and that was really big. I think it came out around either
summer.
Right before, it was summer, but I listened to that album like all summer. I listened to that album. You know what I'm saying? I love the production on it. I think Ars had like about three, 4 joints on it.
3 or 4, but
Yeah, but it was just, you know, I mean, Joel's straight. I love Crooked. You know what I'm saying? Joel's straight, Crooked. I just always loved Crooked's bars. You know what I'm saying? He's for a dude. I think Crooked was one of the first dudes that I'm not gonna say you didn't know he's from the West Coast, but he.
I know
rapped.
what you mean, though. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, he rapped like he was straight off the. I mean, there's other West Coast guys too, especially like from the Bay Area, like from the underground Bay Area that was rapping like that. Not like him, but like you couldn't tell where they was from.
Right.
Like it wasn't like you didn't hear any accent, you didn't hear anything. It was totally just bars. So I think to me, Kruger was one of the first dudes that I can remember like that. I didn't know where he was from at first. Like, where's this dude from? Back to he's on Death Row, so I knew he was from the West Coast, but you can't tell by his bars.
Right. So this gonna be show 42,
right? No, 3.
43. Yeah. I started to lose count. It was crazy. At a point, I was able, like when we was in like our 20s, I was able to name like every episode and like who was on it or whatever episode was.
Now I don't know.
Once we hit the 30s, I was like, whoa. But top show moments, man. I got a couple
too.
I'll start. I'm gonna tell you the first thing that like blew me away. Right, the first conversation was when we had Docs on the first time, and like I've known Docs for 20 years at this point, and like you know we kept up through social media, did music together, stuff like that. But like the stuff he was saying, I ain't gonna repeat it now. You could go back and listen to it.
Like go check it out.
I had no clue he had been through that amount of stuff with the stuff he was doing, where he was doing it. Between that, his struggles with like depression and
stuff,
being sick and almost losing his sight and stuff like that. Like I wasn't ready for like 75% of the stuff.
You see, you wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready. Like that's why we had to do the part 2. Remember? Like we ain't even really get to the music.
Where it was just more about that. Yeah, he had Docs had definitely a great. He can write a book, man. His life is crazy. So appreciate for opening up, man. That was dope.
So that and I think the other one I want to say one of the most fun episodes I think was the unpopular opinion one. With Tone and shit. I thought that was real dope. It was fun. And it's kind of like we got to say like stuff like, cause I got feedback like, yo, I agree with, or you were bugging, and
of course, yeah.
That was fun. That was definitely fun. So those a couple of my top moments.
Top ones. I have a few, man. I think every moment was pretty dope. Every show was dope, but I think especially episode 1. I think episode 1 was dope because at that time we were building it. We were trying to figure out what we were trying to do, and we collaborated and said, all right, let's do it on that topic, and then we kind of like it was just because it's the first. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get that feeling back of hitting recording and doing it. A lot of people think you just get up here and you just talk, but now we have a method to the madness of what we're doing. So that was just kind of figuring it out. And then to see where we are now, kind of like getting to trying to perfect every piece of it. I think that's dope. So always episode 1. Then like, from the amazing guests we had on here, the first person, I'm trying to think the first musical guest that we had Vert. We had, I forgot who we had for Vert, but then we did things with Sophia that was dope. We talked to Derrick, that was dope. We talked to Ike, which was dope, was our first guest ever. We'll do too. But the one that, we was doing that, and again, we're meeting with these people that we know, right? So it's like we had some kind of rapport with these people to some for either you or I did, or mutual acquaintances and friends, stuff like that. But I think when we got Sky, I think when Scott did the show, I knew that we had some because I was like, yo, like we don't have any connection with him, and we're doing this, just by strictly reaching out and talking to different people. We have no connection to this person, and he's like, yo, let's do it. And then we did it, and it came out great. And he's like, yo, this was mad cool. We talked for like an hour after. We just was chopping it up, and it's kind of like that's probably we had something. So that's one thing that stuck out to me. While I'm like, damn, like we on the ball with something. And then all the other great guests we had, from Arsonist, to Michael Hyatt, to Tyler Abercrombie. Ran twice, Docs twice, Vert, Jay, Apollo Brown, Craven, like let's go on, man. LeBron,
Principal Mills.
Yeah, we get all these great guests, and it's like just for them to take the time and tap in with us, show that we was doing something good. So I think those are all my top moments. I know it's a lot, but like, just every time we get on with somebody, it's always a good vibe. So I can say
that. All right. Any takeaways? Future?
Yeah. Takeaways, man, for this year, man. I think with everything going on, just slowing down, man. Everything just needs to slow down. I think this happening for a reason for everybody, just to chill, spend time with family, spend time with loved ones, call people up, just relax. We so much for running, hustle, and bustle. Before you know it, man, your kids are 15, 16 years old. You're like, yo, what happened? You don't remember. So I think, just us taking that time, and then reading, always think this time, instead of looking at TV all day, read some stuff. I've been reading a few different things during this time. I always try to read at least 2 books a year. But right now, I think I'm reading the autobiography of Malcolm X right now. I have another book on Lon Marie that, right after that one. So just trying to sharpen everything. How about you?
Yeah, besides, all the craziness that happened, like you said, like I got to be around, my kids a lot more, which I mean, some days it was just like, yo, you know how it is. But I think part of it was like, you don't realize how much of the day, you're not around them. And if you count the hours of a week, of you being at work and your kids being away and, the actual time. So I think we got some great bonding time. I think myself, like I improved a lot, just like with technology. I think I had time to, be more creative. Like sometimes, like work wears you down, and you don't want to push to do certain things because you're tired. So I think that opened up a lot of that for me. So, what you
definitely.
got? A few. Go ahead. What you would say?
For future, but for future, future outlook, same thing, man. Just keep on pushing forward, keep on learning, keep on growing, keep on trying to be a better person. You got better husband, better father, better friend, better everything, brother, all that stuff, man. That's pretty much what I'm trying to do, man. Always keep positive outlook on everything. Don't get caught up in the weeds. A lot of things I kind of don't anyway now, but really, I think what everyone should do too. And I said this to a few people. Is you gotta know how to put yourself first. Right. And it seems selfish, but it's not. Like I think a lot of times we spend most of our time being pulled in certain areas and trying to please everybody. You can't please everybody. And I think once you realize that, and I realized that at a young age, but now I really get it. I think as you get older, you get wiser with a lot of different things. You see things totally different. So where it's like, I do what I want to do. Like not in a bad way, but I do, you can say no in a nice way. Right. You gotta be a jerk about certain things, but you gotta do what makes you happy at the end of the day. How about you, man? I know you got some stuff popping. You got some stuff
popping. Yeah, I mean, I was inspired by a lot of music, which got me back into writing some music and stuff like that. So it's been a minute, but it all kind of came back, and I feel like it's even better based on like my life experiences and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to putting some music out.
But shout them out, man. Shout out who put that battery in your back.
Yeah,
Helped you out.
Yeah, shout out to Abel Mary, man. The music he was putting out, and he kind of heard some of my old stuff, and he was just like, "Yo, you need to kind of do this," and so I'm back doing that. It feels great. I feel like, I mean, it's crazy. I feel like a better person when I'm doing it.
It's a better person.
That's crazy. It's like when you have a talent to write, and you don't do it, you don't realize that you kind of suppressing certain things without even realizing it.
I can see that.
So that's been like therapeutic for me.
Definitely.
Just felt good, just kind of putting out stuff. But in the future, man, I want to just keep putting out great content, doing what we're doing here. Doing my thing on the side, promoting other people doing good stuff. Because I think that's key. Especially people that are doing music or acting or whatever. Like, if we could use our platform to get people 5 more fans or 5 more people interested in someone's business, or like Sophia, like 5 more kids that can go to her, her dental office or whatever. I'm there for that because I think we know a lot of people doing great things. So I want to keep just pushing that out, putting good energy out, and just being solid, man. With the podcast, I think what one of the biggest compliments that I receive just in general is that like the guests are just comfortable, man. We're not trying to like be salacious or try to be like scandalous or try to get scoops or whatever. Like, I mean, that's save that for TMZ. I'm good on that.
We good. We don't need all that stuff, man. We don't need that. You can talk to us. Now, I forgot to shout out Abel too. Abel's been great. He was a great guest as well, man. He gave us our theme song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, for the pod, which was dope. You know what I'm saying, and that dude just a recording machine, man.
Yeah.
Like he just records, bro. Like it's like, I mean, you see stuff like that, you hear about it, and I'm pretty sure people that we might not know that do it, but like to see his work ethic, and he might hit me up with something like, yo, I got an EP on my phone. I'm like, yo, like when did you record this stuff? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like so I think that's like it's a gift that he has, man, that grind, man. So I'm glad you guys are working together, and he helped spark something back up in you that you say you never gonna write again.
Yeah, I mean, I just
like I'm
I
good.
just never had the urge, but when it's here, you can't fight it. I mean, it might disappear for me and for 10 years. So I'm trying to. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but
yeah, you gonna come back like a hip hop.
Yeah, exactly. Start rapping about something crazy.
Oh yeah, what's his name? Before we wrap up, what's his name passed away today from Houdini, man.
Yeah,
Ecstasy,
I saw that. Ecstasy, yeah.
That's crazy,
I saw that, and then I saw the picture. Which one? I was like, yeah, that's the main dude.
Yeah, you wouldn't know the name. I knew you wouldn't know the name.
Nah. I didn't know the name, but I definitely knew the face. I felt like
he was the, he's the one with the hat, man.
Yeah, right.
That was the dude, man. I'm not sure how he passed, so but condolences to his family and friends and everything like that. That's crazy. One of the best rap groups ever.
Yeah, definitely laid the foundation down for sure.
Word up.
So so that's 2020. We got some heat on the way. So stay linked. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Word, stay locked in. We got something coming.
Yeah, got some joints coming and more content, and we kind of seeing what's working and seeing what we want to try, and we'll be here, man. We'll be here. So appreciate y'all. See y'all in 2021.
Stay safe.
Great Minds Podcast. Great Minds Think Alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great Minds Think Alike. Let's rock. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. 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 Derrick the Vaughn, oh boy, like Cam on a song. Culture safe now, thank God. The panic is gone. Time to heal from the pain. Take the bandages off. You gotta win. The stakes are high like a cannabis bomb. Okay, it's game time. Picture with the balls. That's a FaceTime. Great minds spreading faster than a rumor through the grapevine. Vaughn and Derrick, deserve the merit. All salute. It's more than just a podcast. Show it's like a movie. Vaughn and Derrick, what up? Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast.